My name is Virginia Harger, Chairperson of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, and the regular meeting of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission being conducted via Zoom and through a phone link is hereby called to order at 6:03 p.m. This meeting is also being carried live on YouTube. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I invite those participating remotely to do the same. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'll start off with a roll call. Please verbally indicate you're present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly?
Present.
Commissioner Parkins?
Present.
Commissioner Ticky?
Present.
Commissioner Motto? Here. Myself, Commissioner Harger. Ms. Castro, our Assistant Administrator?
Present.
Mr. Panico, our Consultant?
Present.
Ms. Bernassos, our Recording Secretary.
Present.
And for the record, Commissioner Laskos and alternate Commissioners Onofrio and Usel and Mr. Rossetti are unavailable for tonight's meeting, as well as Mr. Nappi being excused. A couple of points before continuing with tonight's agenda. Ms. Castro will act as a Zoom meeting host. Commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting, but please identify yourself and wait to be recognized by the chair to make sure that we're not all speaking over each other and to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who is speaking. First agenda category has 2 applications for certificate of zoning compliance, and I understand from Commissioner Motto, the zoning subcommittee met to review each of these. So Commissioner Motto, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee for the first one? Lazaro Suites, which is at 7 Riverside Drive.
I didn't have any issues with it. I think Ruth mentioned that the inclusion of established date was superfluous and recommended that not be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if we heard from Peter.
Okay, this was comments were going back and forth by email, I believe.
Right. We couldn't work out a date time.
Right. Okay. So Commissioner Parkins, you want to expand upon that?
I just don't think it adds anything to the sign. I actually think it takes away from the name of the sign. And in many cases, we have asked applicants not to include their established date by. I just don't think it's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there must be some other means for them to do something like that, perhaps in the interior of the. Yeah,
that's fine if they want to put it on their logo head or, menu or that sort of thing. But I just don't think it's needed on the sign.
Yeah.
Perhaps they could put it on the window or the door.
Right.
Or if as it's a bakery, if they are packaging things in boxes, and if they have to print the name of on their something.
Right. Yeah, I just think, it's something that I know we have many times asked applicants to remove from, and I just think we need to be consistent with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you sort out your rights and entitlements under conventional zoning as opposed to under a PUD.
Well, this is a PDD.
Oh, this is a PDD. Well, then you have that control.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not a PDD? It's Canal Street, so I believe it's a PDD.
I don't know, where is this located?
This is the Riverside building, John Geddes Riverside building down on Canal Street.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that one there.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I'm
Wait,
glad
that's it, right? That's
yeah, because there's Pier 131 is down at the end.
Yeah,
it's the one with the sign in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. I'm happy to see that we have a new tenant going in, and it sounds like it's going to be an interesting one, bring a service to and a product to the area, which we are, I think, in short supply in the downtown area. So any other commission have any comments about the appearance of the sign with the established?
Well, I agree with that comment. And I think usually people brag about when they're established when they're about 100 years old.
True.
Yeah.
Not when they're brand
Commissioner Tiki, did you have any comments?
No, I agree with everything that's been said.
Okay. All right. Is there any commissioner would like to make a motion on the approval of the sign and whether or not the established line should be eliminated?
I'll make the motion to approve the sign with the elimination of the established 2021 wording.
Okay. And is there a second on the motion?
I'll second that, Commissioner
Okay.
Maddow.
Okay, so on the motion to approve the sign as presented with the but with the line established 2021 eliminated, made by Commissioner Parkins and seconded by Commissioner Motto. I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Motto?
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki?
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion is passed 5-0. Next one is second application, Kickstart Cafe. Commissioner Motto, do you have anything to mention to us about this one?
No, we had already discussed that in a previous meeting, approved it, albeit it was already up.
Mm-hmm.
Looked like my spell check here changed it to the Zwickwa Start Cafe. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I don't recall this as being anything that it was that we had an issue with. It was just the fact that the applicant had gone ahead and already installed it before coming to the commission for final review and approval.
Yeah.
The only Chair, the only thing I questioned was that this picture does not depict the 2 round window signs that were also put in. That I may or may not have been already approved. I know we discussed them, but I just wanted to confirm that it meets the zoning requirement or the sign regulations in terms of having, see those 2 signs that are on there?
Mm-hmm.
She goes back. So that basically means there's 3 signs on the front of the building.
Right. Okay.
I just want to make sure that that meets regulations because we're usually very careful with that.
Okay. So I think the best way to approach this would be to conditionally give an approval on the sign over the door, but for staff to verify that the 2 window signs are in conformance with our zoning regs. And if they are not, then they would have to be removed.
Yeah.
Tony, do you have any comment on that?
Well, there are limitations on the amount of coverage of the window that you can have with the window sign, so that ought to be verified.
Okay.
Well, they don't look very big other than all the scribble that's on the windows with them putting hours, et cetera, and all their little signs down below. But I more just want to make sure that I have no issue with it. I just want to make sure that it conforms to the regulations of having basically 3 signs on one side of the building.
Yes, that aspect is okay.
Okay.
Is all that business about grand opening, is this something they're going to continue to do as they operate?
It looks as if,
Specials
according
and
to
things
the
like
map,
that.
that
It should be
taken-
questioned on that.
Yeah, it looks like that particular Google Earth, whatever photo was taken was in September 2022 before it opened. So I would imagine that those would have been removed by now.
Well, I think that's another point that perhaps staff ought to take a look at it and make sure that when you authorize the window signs that they are authorizing what's permitted by the zoning regulations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but what just has to look next door and see what's going on in those windows.
We always try to discourage those handwritten signs, whether it be paper signs or scribbled on the window glass itself. It just it's not conducive to a good atmosphere downtown.
Yeah, can start to get a little sloppy.
Yeah.
So
okay, as long as there's no issue with the 3 signs on one side, I'm fine.
All right. Any other comments from any other commissioner? Okay. Is there any commissioner who'd like to make a motion on this particular application?
I'll make a motion to approve the sign as proposed for the top of the facade, whatever you want to call it.
Over the doorway.
Over the doorway.
Okay. And no contingencies, caveats, anything like that? approve as presented?
Well, I think Tony clarified that my only concern was that it was a duplicate of signage with 3 signs being on one side of the building, but Tony said that it does conform, so I'm fine.
Okay.
No additional comments needed.
All right. Okay, Commissioner Parkins, did you want to include in your motion anything about staff confirming the coverage is in conformity with our regs?
In terms of the window sign,
Yeah,
but this application was just
It's
for
not
the
for
overhead sign, so
okay,
I would just have
Alright.
staff confirm that
we'll do that separately.
all the shops downtown continue to conform with the window coverage,
Mhm.
but not for this particular application.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve as presented from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
Commissioner Tucci will second.
Thank you, Commissioner. So on the motion to approve by Commissioner Parkins, second by Commissioner Ticky, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed 5-0. Next on the agenda is old business. Application 2223 Fountain Square, Dominic Thomas from Fountain Square LLC at 745 to 801 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessor's Map 28, Lot 18, for an amendment to the initial development plans and a modification to the Statement of Uses and Standards Plan Development District. There was a little bit of background in this. We did have a public hearing on this application on November 16th of this year, during which time Attorney Thomas reviewed the proposal to amend the Statement of Uses and Standards to permit a grocery store not greater than 15,000 square feet. One member of the public spoke in support of the amendment. And after a discussion by the commission voted unanimously to close the public hearing. Staff has prepared a favorable resolution. And if there are no questions from the commission, I'll ask Mr. Panico to present the resolution. Any questions for Mr. Panico before he reads the resolution?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. The commission is totally aware of what it is we're deciding. All we're doing at this point in time is simply amending the Statement of Uses and Standards to include in the permitted uses a limited size grocery store not to exceed 15,000 square feet.
Okay.
They
The
did-
resolution was emailed to all of the commissioners. Ms. Castro, do you have it handy to put up on the screen? Perfect. Okay, Mr. Panico, you have the floor.
Okay, again, this is application 22-23 regarding PDD 91, but by Attorney Dominic Thomas on behalf of Fountain Square LLC, a mixed-use retail service center located at 801 Bridgeport Avenue, and it's for the amendment of the Statement of Uses and Standards as set forth below. The applicant is seeking commission approval of an amendment to the applicable Statement of Uses and Standards of PDD 91 to allow a limited size grocery store as a permitted use under Section 5. 2 potential locations are under consideration for the proposed use. The first potential location is a freestanding building with expanded parking, replacing the proposed 3-story office building that was conceptually approved in Phase 5. The second potential location under consideration is a 12,500 square foot portion of building space at the north end of Retail 1 building, which is currently under construction in Phase 1, necessitating the elimination of the proposed freestanding coffee shop in order to expand parking. If said proposed Statement of Use and Standards is amended as requested, an application for approval of the proposed use at a specific location will be submitted for commission review and action. The commission convened and closed a duly noticed public hearing on November 16, 2022, at which hearing the commission expressed support for the permitted use amendment and discussed potential alternate locations with the applicant. A single public comment expressed support for the proposal as being, and I quote, a very high quality project, unquote. The commissioners expressed opinions at the hearing relative to the potential alternative locations. Staff indicated, the applicant indicated that specific details and additional information and details will be provided with the submission of revised final detailed development plans for whichever alternate location preference is expressed by the applicant. The commission reminded the applicant that while the potential location at the north end of the existing retail building 1, that's part of phase 1, may be treated as a minor modification of detailed development plans, which have already been approved for that site. A proposal for a new freestanding building at another location will be deemed a major modification of PDD 91, requiring a public hearing prior to any commission action. The purpose of that differentiation between the two is one is an intent to potentially occupy a portion of an existing building, whereas the other alternative under consideration is to build a new building. And that brings into account layout considerations, architectural design considerations, et cetera. So it needs to go to a public hearing. Simply changing the occupancy is a relatively minor change. On the basis of its preliminary review of the two alternatives presented, the commission has expressed a non-binding preference for the location in retail building number 1. Having reviewed, deliberated, and considered all information and concerns presented at the public hearing, and being familiar with the subject PDD 91, in addition to the concerns noted above and in its deliberation, the commission notes the following. 1, a limited size grocery store not exceeding 15,000 square feet, if well-designed and appropriately positioned on the site, can be consistent with and complementary to the existing and proposed development of Fountain Square, PDD 91. Accordingly, the subject SOUS should be amended to allow limited size grocery stores. Number 2, the commission will have the opportunity to incorporate additional site plan and architectural adjustments as final detailed development plans for the subject areas of change are prepared and submitted for final review and approval. If said proposed location involves a new freestanding building rather than occupancy of a currently approved and existing building, then said modified detailed development plan will require a public hearing prior to commission action. 3, any concerns of the commission relative to site layout, building design, and other areas of interest will be adequately addressed prior to final approval of a proposed location. And 4, said amendment will accommodate an additional use consistent with the approved concept of PDD number 91, a mixed-use retail service center, without compromising the overall quality and integrity of the center. After completion of all final discussions and on the basis of the above, it was hopefully moved by Commissioner, someone, to adopt the proposed amendment of SOUS Section 5 permitted uses to become effective on Friday, December 23rd, 2022 at 8 a.m.
All right, does any commissioner have any comments, questions, or concerns about the resolution for Mr. Panico?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for discussion.
Okay, there's a motion to approve for discussion from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a
I'll second it.
Okay, second
Commissioner
from
Kelly.
Commissioner Kelly, thank you. So on the what's the discussion amongst commissioners?
So Tony, this is basically putting it into the applicant's hands that if they're willing to go into the existing building, there will be no need for additional hearing. If they decide to build a new freestanding building, then it would have to come before the commission for a full public hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, based on their preliminary representations. Now, if for some reason their desire to go into the end of the existing building is going to cause them to want to make significant modifications to that building, then we might decide that it required a hearing. But
Okay.
if they stay within the design and flavor of the building, simply occupying that space and expanding parking, and as a result of the parking expansion, the need to eliminate one of their proposed buildings, that's considered a relatively minor modification.
So if they have to remove, I believe it was a coffee shop or something that's in the front, if they agree to move, or if they decide to put the grocery store in the existing building and remove the coffee shop, it will not or that coffee shop building, proposed coffee shop. It will not require them to come back for a public hearing.
Yes, and as I've advised them, I advised them informally, that's okay, but there's a public area that we had created there, and that is going to be preserved.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tony, I have a question. Is any building there that isn't built, would that require also a public hearing?
any building that is not built,
Yeah, you know, in other words, they sell the lot or the platform where a building is going to go. Now, you know, there was talk of Chick-fil-A, so on and so forth. That hasn't been built. So would that have to go to a public hearing?
if it's something other than what was approved as part of detailed development plans, no. So
Okay,
we've already approved detailed development plans for facilities like Chick-fil-A, and we've only approved, on the other hand, preliminary development plans for the I guess it was intended to be the Goddard School and
Right.
the
Right.
office building that we were talking about up on top of the hill there.
and the
That-
hotel too, right?
That only has conceptual approval. It's got to come back for detailed plans.
But it doesn't have to go back to a public hearing, right?
No.
Okay.
As long as they stay within essentially the concept as it was approved. If it's a real dramatic change, then yes, we would take it to a hearing.
All right, from what I understand though, the option number 2, they're taking a slot that someone else gave up. Am I correct?
Option number 2 being occupying
Meaning the new building, period.
the new building,
The freestanding building that hasn't been built.
the freestanding
Right.
building that hasn't been built is the location that they're proposing to go in, but not into that building. And it requires them to create more parking up there and destroy green space, et cetera. So there are major impacts of putting that building there.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Have they indicated, do you have any idea of what their preference is? Can you share any of that?
I thought
I don't think they know. We know.
No,
Yeah.
they
No,
have not
but in
expressed
the-
anything.
in the discussions with Attorney Thomas, he couldn't speak for them, but he had a feeling that they were leaning towards occupying a portion of building number 1.
Mhm.
I just think there are a lot of issues to go up on the top of the hill there and create a new freestanding grocery store and having to create parking, and you start messing around with circulation, truck traffic, and all of that. Whereas we've already accounted for it in the review and decision on building number 1.
They certainly started faster if they went that route.
Absolutely.
It would seem that the most expedient place for it would be in the existing building.
That would, I guess, to me, and I think to most of the commissioners, that seemed to be a desirable way to go. I think one of our commissioners had some reservations about it, but I think in general, that was a feeling that I read from the comments I was hearing.
Okay. All right, anybody else? All right, so there's a motion to approve from Commissioner Parkins. That was seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Now, there is no other further comments, questions, or concerns. I'll do a roll call. So this is a motion to approve. Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Motto?
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion to approve the amendment to the statement of uses and standards to allow a limited size grocery store according to the resolution of has been approved 5-0. Okay, next on the agenda is application 2224, Shelton Plaza, Dominic Thomas for Shelton Realty Plaza LLC at 265 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessors Map 92, Lot 19, for Plan Development District on 0.67 acres for 4,060 square foot retail and office building with a service station and on-site parking. This particular The public hearing for this was held November 16th, during which time the applicant reviewed the proposal, which included a change to a previously filed application that had been denied without prejudice. The current application is only for a convenience store and service station. The applicant's traffic engineer presented his report, which concluded that Bridgeport Avenue would be able to accommodate 3 peak hour vehicle trips. Attorney Thomas indicated that ConnDOT approved a break in the non-access line from Bridgeport Avenue with only a right turn in and a right turn out. The applicant's engineer reviewed the revised layout in the vicinity of the fuel pumps, the addition of the painted crosswalks, the stormwater management system, and sightline data. The applicant's architect presented renderings showing the design of the convenience store building. I had asked if the applicant had considered a layout with the convenience store in the front, the fuel pumps in the rear, and the applicant's architect had indicated the applicant would consider that suggestion. 4 members of the public spoke, and Mr. Panico indicated that he would like more clarification to confirm the retaining wall and site plan retaining wall and site plan description agree, and the type of material used for its construction. And the commission voted unanimously to close the public hearing. So can staff indicate whether or not the information that Mr. Panico had requested was received yet?
We have not received any updates yet.
Okay. Mr. Panico, have you had any discussions with the applicant at all?
No, I have not.
Okay. So some clarifying information that you had looked for has not been received.
No, if it is not received, depending upon the direction that the commission goes, it would simply be stipulated as a condition of action.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, go ahead.
I don't know how that works, because if we, if people really feel that the pumps should be in back, I don't know how we approve anything if we haven't figured that out.
We're not at that point yet tonight to approve anything, because we would have to, there hasn't been a resolution prepared, and that's.
Based on the comment that was made, I did take a few minutes to look at it, and based on a very brief examination of it, it certainly seems to me like it physically will fit. And it has a big advantage of creating a more attractive building on Bridgeport Avenue rather than a big long canopy overshadowing 6 gas pumps.
Yep. Retaining wall, I mean, that could be an attractive thing or a really ugly thing, depending on what they're going to propose there.
Well, they gave us some preliminary indications, but it certainly was not final design.
Mm-hmm. I brought that up for the aesthetics, definitely. And I also felt that putting the gas pumps in the back would direct traffic to go out the Cott Street exit. I think we may run into a risk that people, being who they are, sometimes they don't follow traffic and signage, and it may very well say right turn out, and the exit actually curved to put you in that direction, but you never know. Somebody might.
Ever see anybody come out of Gaetano's on Bridgeport Avenue and take a left instead of a right?
Mm-hmm.
Drive right over the barrier or drive around it.
Oh yeah.
If they don't want to, they will not pay attention to signs.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one of the reasons, besides the aesthetics. I know there are a lot of locations in town where we have the fuel pumps on the road, but I felt it was about time to upgrade the appearance of a place like this. And as Mr. Panico said, looking at a convenience store with, if you recall the renderings that the architect presented, I think they were a little bit more good on the eye versus the canopy, a canopy and fuel pumps. I think it's maybe time to take a little direction. Go ahead, Commissioner
I
Parkin.
certainly appreciate your concern with that. And I agree that aesthetics is very important. I mean, it is a gas station though. My concern about doing that is most gas pumps are in the front of the store where the windows are. So the front of the store. So how would they treat if they put the pumps in the back? Where's the front of the store? So would the back of the store be what you see from Bridgeport Avenue? That's not going to be very attractive. My biggest concern is that there's too many pumps there that is making it an unattractive building. So it's taking away from the architecture of the building because it's just one big canopy. I believe it was 5 pumps. I know we had talked about reducing it down to 4 pumps to make it a little bit more, I don't know, not country-ish, but just a little smaller, right? So that it's not so like big in your face on Bridgeport Avenue.
5 pairs of pumps.
What's that?
5 pairs of pumps.
5 pairs of pumps, right?
This location has a car on either side, yeah.
I mean, I just think 4 would make it much more, it would make the building more prominent. My concern also about putting the pumps in the back is that it's kind of secluded back there. So, you know, I don't know that I would feel safe going into the back of a building to pump gas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do have pumps that are in the back of the lot next to Stop and Shop. I know it's between the Stop and Shop and Burger King, and that does get traffic.
Yeah,
but
I won't go there.
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily see it as being that secluded. What, Mr. Panico?
Say they generally keep these facilities very well illuminated.
All right, they'd have to.
And as for the building in front, that's a matter of how they sit down and redesign their building. It needs to be a building which has a attractive view from all sides. You know, even though it's the back of the building, it's got to look more like the front of a building.
Yeah, I didn't imagine it to be rotated. I just imagined it being pulled forward. And when we did have
that's not a business model for convenience store and gas station. They're not going to put the pumps. That's not at the front of the store.
Rotate the whole thing so that the orientation of the convenience store really has to be to the pumps.
Well,
and I think that gives that provides a disadvantage because the pumps are going to be hidden behind the building. And I get that that's what your point is, but from a service standpoint, if people are driving by and they don't realize it's a gas station, they're not going to pull in.
I think the main function is getting gas.
But the
secondary is
going. And we have like 3 people talking. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Go ahead. You were talking.
I said I think the main function is to purchase gas. I think the secondary function is the building itself.
And Mr. Panico, you also were speaking?
No, I was simply making a statement that the traffic that flows by this site is, for lack of a better term, local traffic. It's not interstate traffic or anything like that that's going by for the first time and needs to be attractive as an impulse location to stop. People that are going to use this facility are going to be people that go by this location at many times. So they're going to know it's there. That part doesn't concern me very much, but
it will be.
Go ahead, Commissioner Maddow.
I was going to say it's going to be a lot of people that are going to be on the Moss property. I would think those businesses are going to probably be their biggest customer base.
Probably.
Yeah.
A major component of it.
Yeah. I do recall when the gas station up where Lane Yankees was previously proposed. I believe we saw renderings of the 4 sides, and there was a rear entrance to the convenience store for people to walk in the back. Not because they needed to go to the convenience store, they didn't park in the front. They weren't patronizing the pumps. So yeah, as I said before, I just saw it as moving forward. Go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
I think and I'm not quite sure, memory is not as good as it used to be. Land Yankees, I thought there was pumps in the front and in the back. And the building was in the center. Am I right or wrong?
So they were all in the front.
They were all in the front. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The only any way for us to really figure this out, but if there's less pump, there'd be more of a problem with lines. You know, with
The queue mean?
yeah,
Cars queuing up? Well,
right.
look, I don't know, look at BJ's, for heaven's sakes. They have how many pumps? Shoot, maybe 6 stations, 3 on either side of the little kiosk. And their traffic goes out to the, not Pershing Drive, but to the driveway on many occasions. And
Well, that's because they're least expensive.
not everybody has a BJ's card. They don't get the discount. So, well, I would just like, Commissioner Dickey, had any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was just going to say the gas station that's down the street from this Stellar's, which I frequent, doesn't queue out to the street. And that's only, you know, I think maybe 4 sets of pumps, but they're tangential. But, you know, 5 pumps just seems like a lot architecturally. And it seems like it takes away from the building. It just seems like it's a lot. And I can't imagine that the addition of 5 pumps is going to get that many new cars off of Route 8. The traffic study didn't seem to suggest that. So I feel that they could probably make do with less than 5 pumps, which, as I think Mr. Panico pointed out, is on each side. So you have 10 queues.
10 locations for dispensing fuel, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, seeing that staff has not had a conversation with the applicant as to the information that Mr. Panico had requested, and they had not gotten back to staff in response to my idea about flipping the layout. I'd like just to ask staff to get in touch with the applicant, seeing that we close the public hearing, and come back to us in next month with exactly what is the whole status of this, what have they decided to do, and also to include on that a potential reduction in the number of pumps stations, and see what they have to say. So, okay, any further final comments? Okay, if not, we'll move along. Next part of the agenda is the public portion. And Ms. Castro, is there anybody from the public who has indicated they would like to participate? If there are, they need to use the Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9.
Are we off of this item?
Yeah, we're gonna have staff look into those 3 areas.
I don't have anyone.
No, okay. All right, I'll give you one last chance. If there anybody from the public who wishes to address the commission on any item not on tonight's agenda, please indicate your desire to do so by using Zoom's raise your hand feature or dialing *9. Okay. All right, next we'll go on to other business, and I'm starting off with comments from the chair. The other part of the email that I sent out today was the list of 2023 proposed meeting dates. We have to file the 2023 meeting dates with town clerk. It's required by statute by the end of December. And I had indicated in November, I had proposed holding the first meeting of the month on the 2nd Wednesday instead of the 2nd Tuesday. It does not necessarily fall exactly in the next night, but since being the chair, I've always considered having the first meeting of the month on a Tuesday to be a very awkward kind of situation, because of the fact that that's the first day of the week the office opens. I have made comments to City Hall administration as to having maybe the P&Z office being open on a Monday, but that is not going to be the case. So this is what I thought might help the situation, where first business day of the week when we have a meeting that same night has created some issues, and that's why I was suggesting moving this to the next day. I had also thought that when we were going through our COVID meetings and we were doing them every Wednesday, for some reason that just seemed to flow a lot better, and it seemed to work much easier. So what is everybody's thoughts on this? How do you want to proceed?
Commissioner Harger,
Go ahead.
I think you're right. I think the first Wednesday, or instead of instead of Tuesday, I think it gives the staff and whatnot, and also us, a time to look at the information and time to prepare.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, all Wednesdays be easier for me to keep track.
Yeah. No, jumping from which week is it? Is it the first one, or are we in a special? So, okay. How about other commissioners? Commissioner Parkins, Commissioner Ticky?
So beside the fact that, so just to give you a little history, the Wednesday, it was decided during when I was chair, early on in my chairmanship, to keep the meetings on Tuesday. The reason we started changing the public hearings was because the rooms were not always available on Tuesdays on different weeks. So we decided to keep the regular meeting on Tuesday and to be able to differentiate it from a special meeting. So special meetings were always held on Wednesday and the regular meeting was always held on Tuesday. And that was just a standard throughout. I certainly appreciate the comment about, staff not being able to prepare. It would be ideal if they could work Mondays, but that's not the case. So, that extra day is helpful, and not only to us, but to applicants. So again, they're all going to be on Wednesday, but I think people will be confused, which unless they know that the first meeting is always the regular meeting, whatever, excuse me, but that's why it was differentiated for that exact reason. From my standpoint, I probably will be less available on Wednesdays for regular meetings because I do travel, and travel typically takes place Wednesday through Friday. But that's just a personal thing for me. So
right.
I would not be opposed to you changing the meeting to meet the needs of other commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Ticky. I think the change to a Wednesday is fine. I do think that makes sense. For those that have been on for a while, I know we used to meet twice a month, and then obviously with COVID, we would meet 10 a.m. every Wednesday, every week, and that was a phone call. So it looks like we're committing ourselves to meeting 3 times a month, which is fine for the flow of the business. Hopefully the meetings are relatively shorter if we're doing 3 a month for the workload we have than when we used to meet twice a month. For example, this looks like a shorter meeting tonight. I will occasionally have a conflict with the 4th Wednesday. That's been an issue for me this year, but that's why we have alternates. But the change from the first Tuesday to the Wednesday is fine for me.
Okay. Let me just clarify something, Commissioner Ticky. The committing to 3 meeting nights a month isn't necessarily the case, but what we have to do is get this list in so that if we have to have 2 special meetings, we will have a room and it won't be a last minute kind of thing. So this is what this helps with. So we may not necessarily have to have a 3rd meeting, you never know, but it's good to have it already on the calendar.
So you're not filing this with the town clerk?
Oh, yes, it is. So
well, if you file this with the town clerk, if you do not have a special meeting, you're going to have to post a cancellation.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was about to say. It's easier to cancel something than it is to schedule it because sometimes we have that limitation of what room are we going to use. So
have we in the past had to post the special meetings?
What do you mean post them?
I mean, pre-post them in January for the whole year.
My understanding is
usually all you have to do is post the regular meeting night.
Oh,
right. Well, that's correct.
Yeah, my understanding is that you do have to file your meeting agenda. I did not see anything in there that Claire said that it's only the regular meetings. you know, the special
That's
meetings.
that's all you have to post with the town clerk.
Specials.
The only thing you have to post with the town clerk is the regular meetings.
Regular meetings. Right.
That's what state law requires.
Right.
Correct.
But right. Okay. But in addition, we've tended to get our special meeting list into the town clerk so that they could get that room reserved for us. And if we don't need to use it, then we don't have to. But
sure,
sometimes they're scrambling to find a place for us.
Well, I think that's an excellent idea, but I don't think I would actually post it as a schedule of meetings.
Right.
I agree.
Administratively, yes, let the town clerk.
Yeah, staff could convert this to whatever format they need to use.
Let them put it on the calendar to hold the room for us, but not post it as a confirmed meeting.
That's exactly I think what I was trying to get to, but I didn't have the word hold. It's holding a room for us.
Yes, you just never need to know. I mean, it could be in July or August or whatever. The commissioners have a problem with a certain Wednesday and you decide you have to have it that week. So you move it to a Thursday or a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So,
Commissioner Harger, have you verified that the meeting, the City Hall room would be available on the first Wednesday of the month?
Ms. Castro, did Mr. Rossetti get in touch with the town clerk?
I spoke with the town clerk. It is on there tentatively until you guys confirm. This way nobody else tried to take it.
Okay.
And also in the past years, the special meetings have been on the calendar as a hold, but there's like an asterisk next to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a discussion between myself and staff in November, so that's, or it might have even been in October, so they might have taken the time right then and there to get in touch with the town clerk, and she was nice enough to put a hold on the Wednesdays so that there wouldn't be a problem. So
are we going to continue to have our regular meeting on Zoom, or are we going to be back to either or what is the plan there for holding a room? Why would we hold a room if we're not going to be there?
If we use Zoom, we have to also reserve the room because other meetings use Zoom also. So,
and that's the Zoom room?
The space.
The auditorium?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The auditorium's the Zoom room.
Yeah, we all share the same login, so that's where they would go and have their meetings also.
Okay.
Okay, so you can't have two. There are not two platforms for two separate Zoom meetings the same night. Same time.
We have one program.
One at the time. Okay. All right. Any other further comments? Commissioner
Ruth brought up the same question I had. If we talked about, are we going to be doing the regular?
Oh yeah,
meeting?
let's go back to that. What's the feeling of the commission? Has this been working out? First meeting of the month is all Zoom, but the other two meetings of the month where that's where staff always tries to segregate those for public hearings. Those are ones which would be hybrid. So if you can attend in person at City Hall, you're welcome to do so. If you want to participate by Zoom, you can as well. But that's when the public hearings were taking place. And I think we came to a conclusion good number of months ago that was, if the public hearings were going to be the second and third Wednesdays, or the third and fourth Wednesdays, whenever they fall, that it was good to have the auditorium available and having it be a hybrid meeting so that members of the public could go to City Hall.
And could see us in person. I think that's a valid point as well. So
I agree.
Yeah, it worked. It works.
Okay.
The availability of Zoom. Some nights you're just happy to be home.
Well, it also allows for it, if there is inclement weather, we don't have to cancel the meeting. It can be switched to just all Zoom.
Correct.
Right.
Except for the staff that has to go to the Zoom room.
Well, they can do it from home as well.
They can.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, they can do it remotely.
Yes, I'm home.
Okay. All right. So is there a commissioner who'd like to move that the 2023 regular and special meeting dates be adopted?
I'll move it.
Okay, there's
Commissioner Kelly.
Commissioner Kelly's made the motion to adopt the list as presented on the screen. Is there a second?
The list on the screen shows both Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, this is a new proposal. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Yeah, it shows both Tuesday and Wednesday. So
Yeah, we're shooting for Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
it's columns 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Motto a second. So on the motion, Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Motto. Do a roll call, Commissioner Dickey,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion passed 5-0. Okay. Commissioner Kelly, do you have any comments?
No, not at this time, Commissioner Hardy.
Okay. Commissioner Motto, any comments from the subcommittee?
No.
Okay. Mr. Rossetti was to be with us tonight, but unfortunately he's quite under the weather. And he was going to present some information about the affordable housing plan. Ms. Castro, do you have any comments in his absence?
I do not. I know he was working very hard on that for quite some time and was ready to present some updates, but that's coming from him with facts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are anxious to get that checked off as being taken care of. So there's it's one of those things, just like other documents. It's a working document, and as time goes on, there may be some amendments to it, but unless we get something filed, we have no base to start on. So
I learned, if I may just share,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Harder, I learned something interesting today. I guess the SEDC helped put together that plan and then forwarded it on to Planning and Zoning Office. From what I understand, the 10 versus 20% commitment for affordable units in an apartment structure is the 10%, and this I guess is state law. The 10% is based on 50% of someone, and I may have this backward. 50%? No, 50% of someone's income it's based on, and 20% would be based on 80% of someone's income. So there's
you have to be a higher wage earner to.
Yeah, but they would have to allow more units, but they would be able to get a higher rent. Less units would get them less rent but a lesser amount of units that are doing that. So I was not aware of that. So that's definitely going to be something interesting for our discussion.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was
which is probably an easier selling point.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, I think it's going to be, depending on how dense the project is, right?
Correct.
So if they've got, 200 units, then, 20% might not be that big a deal. They'll be able to get more at the 80%. So.
Yeah, they SEDC did have a lot of input. They supplied a lot of statistics to staff and to get the ball rolling. So, okay. All right, Mr. Panico, do you have any comments?
No, I do not. I've not had an opportunity to have any discussions with Alex about that. So,
okay. All right. Next item on the agenda are minutes for approval. Does anyone have any comments or changes for the October 26th minutes, which were tabled at our November 30th meeting?
I was not present for the October 26th, so I will have to abstain.
Okay. My chart must be wrong because I keep going back and thinking that you were there. No, I see it right here. You were not. All right. So does anybody have any comments or changes? If not, is there someone that would like to make a motion to approve the October 26th minutes as submitted?
So move, Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Commissioner Dickey will second.
Thank you. So on the motion to approve the October 26th minutes as submitted, Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Motto?
Aye.
Commissioner Dickey?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Motion is passed 4-0-1. Okay, how about the November 9th minutes? Does anybody have any, those were tabled at our November 30th meeting. Does anybody have any comments or changes?
I will have to abstain from those as well.
Okay.
I had a question on 5. Where is this change? Yes. Under old business, paragraph 3, there's a sentence here. The city engineer will still approve these plans when they come in from building permanency.
Permits, probably.
It's got to be something. It's not.
Yeah, when they come in, city engineer will still approve these plans when they come in.
Probably still has to approve these plans when they come in for building permits.
Something's wrong there. Anyway, that's my only comment.
Mr. Panico, do you have a copy of those minutes?
Not in front of me. I could pull them up if you want me to.
Yeah, I thought maybe shed some light on the process, because it's saying that Mr. Rossetti said the city engineer will still approve. Okay, let me back up.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly had asked if the commission received a letter from the Beaver Dam Association. We were discussing the self-storage facility way up Bridgeport Avenue.
Right.
And so Commissioner Kelly asked if the commission had received a letter from Beaver Dam Association from their engineer about the drainage, and asked, has it been addressed? And Mr. Rossetti said the city engineer will still approve these plans when they come in from building permanency, satisfy that they will reduce runoff and improve stormwater quality.
Must be
I think
for
his intent, or what he meant there, was for building permits.
Permit.
He was using a broad term when he said permanency, in the event that there's other permits besides just a building permit.
Oh, okay. All right. So for the whole scope of permits that may be required.
Right.
Did it not also say the city engineer will have to still approve, or will still have to approve?
Will still need to approve?
Yeah, something between
Okay.
still and approve.
All right. So quote, open quote, the city engineer will still need to approve these plans when they come in from building.
for building permit.
Or building permits.
Or, yep. Okay. All right, everybody understand the change in language?
Mhm.
The engineer will need to approve these plans when they come in for building permits. Okay. Anything else?
That's all I had.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to approve as amended with the changes to section 5, application 22-20?
I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Commissioner
so on the
Kelly.
motion to approve the November 9th minutes as amended, made by Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Amato?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion is passed 4-0-1. Okay, the last set of minutes are the November 16th minutes. Does anybody have any comments or changes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the November 16th minutes as submitted?
I'll make a motion to approve November 16th minutes.
Okay. There's a motion to approve the November 16th minutes as submitted by Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, got it.
All right, flip a coin.
No, go ahead, Commissioner Amato.
Commissioner Amato seconded. Okay, so on the motion to approve November 16th minutes as submitted from Commissioner Parkins and seconded by Commissioner Amato. Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Amato?
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
And Commissioner Harder votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 5-0. Well, seeing that there are no other items on the agenda, I'll declare that this evening's meeting is adjourned as of 7:02 p.m. And I'd like to wish everyone on the commission and our staff very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2023.
Same here.
Thank you.
Hope
Likewise.
Santa's
Merry
good to
Christmas,
everybody.
everyone.
Same. Merry Christmas.